Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today to help provide an airline and passengers perspective. EasyJet carries more passengers in and out of Heathrow, in and out of UK airports, that's a Freudian slip, than any other airline. A new runway in the southeast will have significant impact on our passengers and the airline. We carried out an extensive assessment of the options shortlisted by the Airports Commission, working with external experts to assess both how passenger demand will respond to the options and their operational and service quality aspects. Alongside this, we considered the Airports Commission evidence in detail. We entered into discussions with all three of the promoters. EasyJet's views reflect what we believe to be in the best interests of our passengers, the airline, and the UK economy. We strongly welcome the Airports Commission's clear and unanimous recommendation for expansion in Heathrow. The Commission's findings have shown expansion at Heathrow will provide the greatest passenger and economic benefits. This includes lower fares by opening up the airport to increased competition. It will bring significant benefits to all parts of the UK and is in the best interest of all our passengers, both business and leisure, long and short haul. We also agree that expansion at Heathrow must be delivered sustainably. Local noise and environmental impacts need to be addressed, and EasyJet supports the Commission's recommendations on these issues. We now urge the Government to quickly proceed with the Commission's recommendation and start to work to increase aviation capacity for the UK. I'd like to explain these reasons in a bit more detail. Heathrow is clearly the airport that most people want to use. The airport today has pent-up demand as it is already full. As a way of illustration, in 2013, EasyJet bought 25 slot pairs from Flybe at Gatwick for £25 million. The same money would, at times, buy just one slot pair at Heathrow. The demand helps explain why the Commission has found that only an expanded Heathrow would deliver meaningful growth in long-haul routes, and that these routes would be established in the early years of a new runway, reflecting the demand that already exists. The Commission predicts that this would include 12 new long-haul routes served on a daily basis. It is clear that long-haul airlines want to expand at Heathrow, and if they can't, they will do so not at Gatwick, but at other airports such as Paris, Amsterdam and Frankfurt, or allocate their aircraft to other attractive long-haul routes elsewhere in the world, which may not be any use to UK passengers. The Commission is clear. The demand from passengers of all types, business, leisure and even freight, long and short haul, inbound and outbound, all strongly point towards Heathrow. Heathrow does not currently have low-cost, short-haul airlines, but an expanded Heathrow would allow airlines like EasyJet to operate there, providing more competition, which will mean new routes, more service and lower fares. The Airports Commission has identified this as an important opportunity to enhance competition. EasyJet's costs are on average 40% lower than legacy airlines, and so we expect to be able to more than offset the increase in airport charges. The new capacity at Heathrow will open up new opportunities for routes between Heathrow and the UK nations and regions, the rest of Europe and the world. EasyJet would open a base at Heathrow in addition to our existing bases in London at Gatwick, Luton, Stansted and Southend. So let me use this as an example of what could be delivered. We have mapped a potential network from an EasyJet base at Heathrow with up to 30 aircraft. Our network planning suggests we could provide around 19 new routes and increase services on 50 other routes, 69 in total. This would strengthen the domestic and European connections for the UK regions and nations through Heathrow, including new services to Inverness, Isle of Man and Jersey, increased services and more competition for Edinburgh, Glasgow, Aberdeen and Belfast, as well as new and increased services for many other key cities, including Amsterdam, Geneva and Zurich. These potential domestic connections are particularly important. Inverness used to have a direct connection with Heathrow since the late 90s. Last week, Sir Howard Davis pointed out there are only 7 UK airports now connected to Heathrow, whilst 23 are connected to Schiphol in Amsterdam. He describes the reduction in domestic connections over the last 25 years as relentless. The Commission predicts that unless capacity is expanded, this pattern will continue, with the number of UK destinations served from Heathrow declining to as few as 3 by 2040. EasyJet could re-establish a direct connection for Heathrow. We and other airlines could strengthen these domestic links, connecting the UK regions and nations to the economic hub around Heathrow and onward services to international destinations. In fact, the Commission have said 60% of the benefit of a new runway at Heathrow will go to parts of the country outside London and the South East. We have carried out an extensive assessment of the potential for Heathrow operations with EasyJet. This has led to an EasyJet and Heathrow Airport indicative operating framework. It reflects that EasyJet would deliver levels of operational efficiency comparable to our operations at other hub airports such as Schiphol and Charles de Gaulle. The existing Heathrow infrastructure offers check-in, terminal, gate and stand facilities that are consistent with EasyJet's efficient operating model and our service standards. Terminal 4 at Heathrow could support an EasyJet base of 30 aircraft. This, of course, would not affect our operation at Gatwick or our other London bases. Gatwick is a much improved airport under its new owners and management team, and EasyJet is committed to growing our operations there. We are committed to remain the #1 airline at Gatwick, offering a full range of domestic and European routes. The Commission has recognised that Heathrow is in the best interest of the UK, and we believe it's also an opportunity for EasyJet. The Commission is also right to focus on the sustainability of expansion. EasyJet always seeks to minimise the impact of its operations and be a good neighbour in the communities around our airports. We agree with Sir Howard that Heathrow should be bigger and better. In fact, last month we announced that we are fitting our entire fleet with vortex generators, a wing modification which further reduces the noise generated, in response to comments from residents near Gatwick. So we absolutely agree with the Commission that local noise and environmental impacts at Heathrow need to be addressed, and we support their recommendations in this area. It is also important to note that the noise and environmental impact of our aircraft continues to be reduced. As an example, we are investing in 100 new generation A320neo aircraft entering the fleet from 2017, which are 13 to 15% more fuel efficient than the existing fleet. And it's also important to think about how expansion at Heathrow should be funded. EasyJet strongly opposes passengers being asked to pre-fund new runway capacity. This is effectively a tax on passengers to support the financing of a new runway option. All airlines are opposed to pre-funding on behalf of their passengers. As EasyJet, we could stand here today and allow BA, Virgin and other airlines to pay for the new runway in advance, but it's simply not the right thing to do. Pre-funding by consumers does not occur in commercial markets or with any other infrastructure projects. EasyJet has an order of $15 billion of new Airbus aircraft. This is being financed through the markets, and we are not asking our customers to pay for these aircraft in advance. In fact, since we have ordered these aircraft, our average fares have gone down. We believe that airports should seek private finance for their projects to protect passengers and demonstrate the commercial viability of their projects. The government understands that the right infrastructure and international links are essential to the UK's economic growth. This is, after all, a government that is investing in a £38 billion programme of investment in the UK's rail network. The Airports Commission has clearly answered the questions set by the government. So we urge the government to proceed with the Commission's recommendation. It is clear that there is cross-party support for this. Now is the best opportunity to deliver this vitally needed infrastructure, and any unnecessary delay would damage the UK. EasyJet will be helping to make this case, and we are pleased that today's conference is also helping to deliver this message. Thank you.